good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for a Thursday afternoon of thoroughbred action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our mezzanine level studio on a gorgeous Thursday here in the Chicagoland area. Sunny skies, temperatures in the low 80s, fast track, firm turf course, not a whole lot of scratches today. A great card today. We drew the Sunday card. A great card Sunday
as well. Yes, this week is amazing. I think the racing today is good. You mentioned minimal scratches. And then on Sunday, it opens up with all those juvenile races, and then just kicks on from there because every race just seems like it's better than the next. I got really excited handicapping that card.
It's a good card Sunday. Yeah, 2-year-olds on the turf start the day. 2-year-olds on the dirt for race 2. 2-year-olds back on the turf for race 3. Then it goes to the older horses for the remainder of the day, but it is a very nice card Sunday. I think you're going to start to see a lot of those cards as things kind of wind down a little bit for some meets across the country in the Midwest. Us as well, but you're seeing things, Saratoga's done now. This is Del Mar's final weekend. Colonial's winding down. I think Kentucky Downs has, maybe one more week, but then it's like Canterbury's winding down, Prairie Meadows, that kind of stuff too. And there, a lot of them may come here for a start.
Yeah, and I mean horse racing as a whole, right? Because it kind of seems like everything kind of leads up to Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like, okay, let's get to the end of the year, and then things start picking back up. Santa Anita opening day, but then it really kind of it goes into the year. So we are starting to see that form cycle shift right around this time into the winter. And even with us, I mentioned it the last time I believe that we were up here, even with 12 racing days left, that's maybe 1 or 2 more races. And so you start seeing some aggressive drops and some real intent trying to get that win before the end of the meet.
Yeah, and you're seeing the fields definitely build up too. We still have 2 very good stake races ahead on our turf course, the Robert F. Carey Memorial as well as the Hawthorne Derby that are coming up. So those are something that we're going to look forward to. But today we're out in lane 3, so 10 starters on the turf course. That's going to be for the next couple of weeks to get lane 1 ready to go for those stakes. And let's jump into the racing card today. 9 races on the card. Kick things off on the main track in the opener. 12-5 claimers, now winners of 2 races lifetime. We go 3/4 of a mile in the first, Emily. Field of 6, looking at the board right now. Peggy's Way is the horse that sits as your current even money favorite. I took a stance against Peggy's Way today. I completely tossed the horse. What did you choose to do with this runner today?
Well, I went with Peggy's Way. I wasn't expecting even money. I thought the outside runner, Miss Saipan, would get a little bit of action. And again, 25 minutes of post, things could change and level out a little bit. But Peggy's Way, to me, is an upgrade from the most recent start. That was the first start in against winners, had to rush up against the flow. And in terms of the early speed, there's not a whole lot of speed outside of Miss Saipan, who's on her outside. So Peggy's Way with a local experience, second start in against winners, should be the controlling speed in here. Now, if she remains at even money, I'm willing to shift my top pick elsewhere, kind of keying off number 5 Resolution, who ran in a common race in an overall similar effort to number 2 Quiro Dinero. Resolution might be the higher of the 2 coming back from that July 25th race. And Quiro Dinero ran huge in that most recent start on August 15th. That was the Peggy's Way race where the race started to slow down late. Maybe that benefit Quiro Dinero. But I think Resolution off the slight freshening could get the trip.
Now, I'll be curious to see kind of how things unfold up betting-wise, too. I did end up on Quiro Dinero. I thought the last 2 starts were very good. I think this is a horse that's found the right level. That could be the key. John Herron grabbed a winner last week, and I'm curious to see what kind of price we get on that one as we get closer to post time, but we'll circle back to that race in about 15 minutes or so. Race 2 today, 5.5 furlongs, $4,000 claimers. Put Rainier Arietta on the 5, Winging Waves. Field of 7 in this spot. For me, I thought Winging Waves was going to be the fastest of all, was going to clear the lead and take him the whole way around, but I think you might have seen things a little bit differently because you went to Uncaptured Pulse, right?
Yeah, I tried to go with a little bit of like a Goldilocks type play, right? Like Winging Waves, I think, is probably the best speed, and then Mon Ami Fuzzy is the best closer, but this being 5.5 furlongs, if Winging Waves does get pressure from the inside, read the transcript, has early speed. Bernie Lomax was the best of the speed winner last out, and even Alpine Ghost has speed as well, and they might be forced to go from the outside. Uncaptured Pulse just sits behind that first flight and looks to get first run. They're coming back where they had trouble at the start, made a move, had trouble, was pretty warm in that most recent start, so this could be the time and place, gets that right trip.
Carlos Hulot has been a good fit for Uncaptured Pulse since he's gotten aboard this horse. The horse has run some very nice, consistent races. I could definitely see him getting in the mix. Like you mentioned, Mon Ami Fuzzy is a horse that I think will improve on the class drop as well. It's just, it comes down to if I think the horse can clear and if I think the horse can take him the whole way around. That's where Winging Waves is at his best, but it has to be on the front end. I do think they're on full send mode here. We'll find out if that's the case. You're coming up from Fairmount Park for this spot, and we'll see if Winging Waves is good enough there in a race number 2. Third race, we go to the turf. 5.5 furlongs on the firm turf course. $10,000 claimers in the spot. Field of 9 of fillies and mares to line up in here today. And Emily, looks like the inside 2 are the ones that the race kind of works around between Be My Bestie and Doc 7. I was on Doc 7 here, but I know you gave a little bit of a look to be my bestie as well.
I thought both those two are very logical for the reasons that you mentioned. They are consistent. They run those same races every time. They know how to put themselves in the race. As far as Doc 7, I think she's probably the most likely as an individual, but it could just come down to trip. I don't think there's a lot of pace in here. Now, with that said, I went to number 6, Valley Baby, on top, one I've been chasing for a long time, going back to June 30th. That better than looked effort. The turf sprints, when at the claiming level, is when Valley Baby's at their best. And I would be a little bit concerned in terms of trip with Valley Baby, but I look at surface distance plot, and for some reason, Valley Baby's in quadrant 1. So maybe this is a runner that has a little bit more tactical speed than what it looks like on paper, or at least what I think as a handicapper.
Sure.
And so I'm going to give her a shot. I think this is a time, Valley Baby in here. I also wanted to keep number 8, Allotrope, on the radar, one that's going to return to the turf for the first time in a long time, and could be intent.
I picked Valley Baby second in this spot. I thought the horse had a good shot as well. I like the horseback sprinting. I think you're a little bit better with the 1 turn on the turf compared to 2 turns. So I think Valley Baby definitely can improve in here. You might get all that 12 to 1-2 in the morning line. We'll see if that's the case.
That would be nice.
Doc 7 is going to take a lot of money.
That would be some redemption for all those trips and coming up just a little bit short. I'd love that.
Yeah,
today.
Doc 7 is a horse that I think will be very, very tough to beat in there. I would actually even consider singling that one on my early pick 4s and pick 5s. So
you know, if it wasn't for the race shape, I don't think that's a bad idea, because I think Fitz checks every single box. It's just going to come down a trip with a shorter distance.
Yeah, and Doc 7, yeah, it is going to be a very short price there. Race number 4 today, we scratched the 8. That's Bourbon Delight. That one's re-entered for Sunday's card. Leaves you with a field of 7 to line up. We go 1 mile and 70 yards in the spot, conditioned to $4,000 claimers in here. This is going to be an interesting spot because Kozan's Success always takes action. Should be right there again. I decided to get creative, and I got really creative with my selection in here. But what do you make of Kozan's Success?
I think you should say it. I'm ready for you to rip this one open. As far as Kozan's Success, yeah, probably wouldn't be eligible for this condition if not for that late disqualification on May 26th, where Not Very Gentle was promoted, and I think Not Very Gentle can turn the tables today. But as far as Kozan's Success, makes a lot of sense, but probably going to get pace pressure. Kozan's Success has also shown some distance limitations, so trip is going to be really key, and maybe that does open the door for one to just kind of pop up and catch them late.
Here's the thing, Kozan's Success is going to be very short,
Yes.
probably even money or shorter in this spot. And I thought they tailed off a little bit in that last race. I didn't think it was quite as good of a performance here. For me, I'm going to Ancient Man on the inside. An Ancient Man around 2 turns just is a much better racehorse. The start 2 back was a solid effort. Euclid Avenue took him all the way around on the front end in there, and then Euclid Avenue tried to step up in that spot. Now, it was on an off track, so you do have to take that into regard, see how the horse handles the fast track here today. But you pick up David Cohen in the saddle for Blanca Candelas. The Candelas barn grabbed a win last week, and a lot of their horses have been running well. 8 of the first 13 have found the board out of that barn. You're going to get a big price here. You're going to get some pace to chase. Why not take a shot? So that's the route I went.
I think if you're going to beat Kozan's Success, it's not going to be with another front runner.
Right.
So you have to look at the 2 horses coming from off the pace. And Ancient Man was eased out of that last race, but it was just much too tough. Really wasn't the right spot. I think they were just kind of entered to run. So those 2 to me, I mean, I did the video for Twin Spires, and I saw you put this horse in top, and I threw him in the top 3 selections because I just want to give out good information, and I love your idea. Like, you sold me. I'm into it. Ancient Man definitely belongs in there.
You're going to get a price. If the rail's good, it's definitely going to help their chances, and we'll see how the horse runs there in race 4. Race 5, an important race today because we do have a carryover in the late pick 5. That carryover $3,335, so worth taking a look there. But race number 5 at 5.5 on the turf. Scratch the 9, extra halo, and the 2 MTOs. It leaves you with the field of 8 to line up in this spot, and kind of curious what's going to happen here because Tanner Tracy has 2 in Talon's Time and King of the Palace. I thought they were both in with a shot. I ended up with Talon's Time here, but I know you gave King of the Palace a little bit of a look as well.
Yeah, and I'm not against Talon's Time either, just King of the Palace. I think fits today's race shape. Julio Felix is just such an asset and tough to ignore on this turf course. He fits on form, class, consistency, and does even have a place finish over this course when Felix was aboard, going back to his 2nd career start here last August. 3rd start off the layoff, upside in the 2nd start against winners, higher par last out at Canterbury. A lot to like. In that trip, he made a wide close, and all 4 were together at the wire. So I think they fit here. But again, Talon's Time makes a lot of sense. Has a local experience. And that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, and some of these Tanner Tracy runners, when they're over at Prairie Meadows training, but there's not a turf there, so they got to find a turf course. It's either Canterbury or it's here. You're finding the turf course here, and you pick up 2 very capable riders in David Cohen and Julio Felix on these horses. I think both are in with a shot. It could be a little muddied pace scenario. Nagy and the Bears could go. Dinos Dixie could go. Talon's Time could be close. Mahoney Road could be close. So should be interesting to see who tries to kind of push forward on the front end as well.
I think it'll be number 3, Dinos Dixie, and I upgraded Dinos Dixie. He had a complete excuse last out. The trouble start. He lost his footing coming out of the gate. He projected to be the controlling speed that day. Steve Simonovich said they're in full send mode and just never had that opportunity last out. I think they're in full send mode here, so Dinos Dixie's an upgrade.
Yeah, move back to the turf for that horse. Definitely going to be beneficial as well. Race 6 goes 3/4 of a mile on the main track. These are Illinois bred allowance runners. Field of 7 to line up. Happy to see this race come together because these races are sometimes hard to make in here. I ended up looking on top here to Canyon Shadows from the barn of Frank Kirby. I just think the move back to the state bred ranks, the move back to the dirt, everything kind of lines up. Should be forwardly placed, maybe late Blacksmith on the outside shows a little bit of speed, but I think Canyon Shadow's sitting on a big effort today.
I think so too. A lot of positive intent using that turf to dirt pattern that was successful breaking the maiden 2 back. Just looks like in the right spot, has that early speed to put themselves in the race. You mentioned late Blacksmith, one that also has some early speed in here. I'm going to upgrade their stablemate number 1, Red Moscato.
Sure.
It is a class change, but they were facing open company, so it could be seen closer as a lateral move just in terms of par. And Red Moscato is one that's just kind of steadily moving forward. Last year they thought enough to run in the futurity.
Right.
Maybe they're thinking, oh, maybe this is the horse we thought they were a long time ago. And then the other one to upgrade is number 6, Rhodium's Pride. He has like considerable class relief. We talk about race par, much higher race par events that he's coming out of, so that's just an upgrade all alone.
Yeah, I like Rhodium's Pride as well. I picked him second in the spot behind Canyon Shadows. I thought he could get a beautiful trip here, just sit just behind the pace and come running at him late. But I think that horse is spotted very well there. And then look for Dash of the Cash to come running at him late in the lane there in the 6th. In the 7th, we go 1 mile on the turf. Allowance runners in this spot. Scratch the 8th. That's Chaos Reigns. From this field of 7 in here, you get Great Coolness, who's coming back off a layoff. You get Iris's Dream coming off a layoff, a horse that raced in the Florida Derby. Then you have Tough Little Nut on the inside, a horse that, again, comes off a little bit of a layoff. But this is a pretty competitive race. But I think things kind of start with Tough Little Nut and work from there.
I think Tough Little Nut makes a lot of sense. A belated returning under similar conditions. That June 16th race, that was a better-than-looked effort with the place finish on the day. And he was upgraded coming in from the fairgrounds and the Keeneland. Those were tough events against some tough 3-year-old company. He should have plenty of pace to close into. Now things change a little bit, and maybe upgrades number 2 all choked up, but he should still be able to have pace to target and make his run.
Well, and that's kind of the key because DeVito had 2 in here, and they were both pace, and that was the pace of the race. With Chaos Reigns out of here, all choked up, definitely moves up. I'm hoping Great Coolness can rate a little bit closer here. That's who I ended up on in this spot, but that was my one concern when I originally looked at the race. I'm like, okay, there's really only a couple with speed, and now the one's out. And you figured it would be the case.
Well,
DeVito's not going to kind of send 2 horses after one another on the front end.
Exactly. We've seen that with Brittany as well, and she's entered a couple speed horses, and all of a sudden one mystery decides not to run on the day. But number 7, Iris's Dream, has enough tactical speed as well, and from the outside, Walter Rodriguez an assertive rider, should be at least in there chasing, keeping things honest. So I don't know if all choked up is going to kind of sneak away with the lead that it kind of looks like on paper. I think the riders are going to be a little bit more assertive.
And it's just a different race coming out of those condition claimers into this allowance test. I think it's just a different class scenario that you're looking at too. So it could be a very intriguing race there for race number 7. The 8th race, a race I really like here. You scratch the 4 somewhere at the spot, scratch the 9 Ornery Angel in the spot. It leaves you with a field of 8 to line up in here. But looking up and down this field, you have Mystic Storm, who's in. You have Sweet Crystal, the other Hugh Robertson on the outside. Go Storming Girl's been a model of consistency, and then Think Blue has been pretty good. I think there's multiple horses you can look to as a part of that late pick 5 ticket, but I don't think anybody will be a very heavy favorite.
Well, and speaking of heavy favorite, that was the role of number 3 Mystic Storm last out and came up short in that role, but a lot of that just had to do with the gate. Was very fractious and then broke slow, had trouble in running, never got themselves going, so has a look back. And the pace should be honest. I mean, the other Hugh Robertson runner has early speed, Sweet Crystal on the outside, and Go Storming Girl, number 6 Think Blue, looking at the plot, they should all be up there keeping things honest on the front end. Palace Magic can even work at a trip. Yeah, this is a race you'd probably want to spread a little bit.
Yeah, and you might have to. And with that additional money that's coming into the late pick 5 pool, it's worth it.
And I didn't even mention She's a Hoot, who's just been can't leave her off. She's run too good at this level and going to get overlooked with that most recent start.
Yeah, very competitive field there for the 8th, and it doesn't get a whole lot easier for the finale as we go back to the turf. Mile and a 16th on the firm turf course for the last $20,000 maiden claimers in this spot. For me, it's a horse that's been waiting forever to get onto the grass in the 7. Ricky's Best, that's a horse that I went to on top. Nice progression in those races. Orlando Mojica aboard today. That's who I ended up on in the finale. Who were you kind of looking to in race number 9?
I think, like you said, it's a race you probably want to have a little bit of some coverage in there, especially closing out and with the carryover. Ricky's Best is one to use. All 3 outside runners you can really make a case for it. Ricky's Best, Io Fedro, and number 9 Sky Lane. The horse that I went to on top is number 2 Wolf Hunter. This is just kind of one of those things we talk about towards the end of the meet. These long-time maidens sometimes just find the right time and place. He had a little bit of excuse last out with that extreme race shape. And while he does have a lot of races, this is going to be the first time in at the maiden claiming level on this circuit. And I think that's key. And again, the price should be there. And the same thing, Sharp Strike coming out of that same common race can upgrade. But I think Wolf Hunter will be a square price to play. But I'm going to use those 5 to some extent on the tickets.
You're a brave soul at 0 for 25 with Wolf Hunter.
It's 0 for 25, but it's like 0 for 0 or 0 for 0 going maiden claiming level at this distance, and that's, I know Manny will just run and happy to get a check and maybe catch the right field, so I think he's in the right spot.
Well, we're gonna see.
I like being brave.
You gotta be brave every once in a while, and I commend you for it. And like I said, the Louis Roussel runner in there's only had a handful of starts, and that's a horse that's making a similar move from the maiden allowance to the maiden claiming ranks as well.
And we forget, this is a gambling game, and sometimes,
that's
you got to gamble. The most likely winner doesn't always win. You got to take your shots.
That's right. I totally agree with you in that spot there. All right, that's how we see the 9 races today. Now I'm flipping back to the opener, taking a look at the field here for race number 1. 12-5 claimers, now winners of 2 lifetime. They go 3/4 of a mile in this spot. It is a field of 6. You're looking at the board right now, and we were talking about 15 minutes ago. Peggy's Way was the favorite, the 3. She remains the favorite. She's currently at 6-5 on the board right now. And Peggy's Way, horse that I know you gave some consideration to here, thinking that this is a horse that might have a little bit of a speed advantage as well.
Exactly. The other speed is on the outside. Miss Saipan, we'll talk about it in a minute. Peggy's Way will make the 3rd start of the form cycle. Was able to finally find the right level and get that maiden win back on July 18th. Taking pace pressure is a pretty honest pace. The pace was extremely honest in that most recent start on August 15th where she had to rush up against the flow. The race started to slow down late. So she's an upgrade out of there. 2nd start in against winners, and I thought just from a pace standpoint, being on the inside, she could be the controlling speed.
Yeah, she broke her maiden for 62.50, had to drop down to that level to kind of get that confidence boost. And that last out, it wasn't a bad effort by any means. She chased the pace in that spot for that 3rd place effort. I like that they're staying at this level again. They're not dropping in for 5. They're staying at the level. You see her, she's a little late to the paddock, but she looks okay there in the walking ring, so why not?
Yeah, and even her races going back, even though she broke her maiden at that lower level, the races that she was in for 15,000, they were competitive, and she was protected prior to that. So I think she fits here. This is a lateral change in class as far as race par. Could step up.
Yeah, the horse I liked in this spot was the 2. That's Kiro De Niro. This one from the barn of trainer John Heron. 7-2 on the board on this one. Alexis Centeno picks up the call today. Since coming back to Hawthorne and moving back to the dirt, much better efforts for this runner. Rated back early on, close up some ground late in each. Will probably need a little bit of pace to chase. Alexis Centeno picking up the call in here, but I like the distance, I like the level, I like the main track, and I'll take 7-2, and hopefully the price kind of holds there, but at least the progression of races kind of puts this horse in the mix.
Yeah, I think if anything, they found the right level, found where she fit. She was racing against a little bit too tough out in the Oaklawn Park races. She does have that tendency to break a little bit slow, so she's going to make that run from off the pace, get a little bit of drama into it, maybe hoping that pace develops in front of her. I think 7-2 is square, and again, mentioning that pace, she did have that pace on August 15th, is square. But going back to that common race on July 25th, she was the same odds as number 5 Resolution. And I thought Resolution would be a little bit overlooked in here, and we're seeing 3-1 on Resolution right now.
Yeah, let's touch on the 5-horse Resolution. The spot Frank Reyes aboard this runner today for trainer Fernando Bahena. This is a horse that raced over the good track against Allowance Company 2-back. It wasn't a terrible effort. Finished last, but was beaten only 6.5 in there. And then that last out had a lot of work to do after a little bit of a slow start there early on. But Resolution was full of run late. And like you said, you're getting some backing now at that 3-1 price.
Resolution is another one that just found the right level in the maiden claiming company, raced herself into shape, and I think peaked in that June 2nd race. So when they came back against winners and non-winners of one allowance company, it really wasn't a spot for her. I think they were just giving her a race. Then they wheeled back in 11 days for that July 25th race where, yes, as you mentioned, had trouble at the start, broke slow, but put in a really strong close. It was an eye-catching close in there. Now has been freshened, been given the 42 days, comes in here. She does have the front reps on, which were worn in that most recent start, but also worn in the maiden win. I also did see the front reps on number 2, Kiro Dinero, as well, for people that are interested.
Yeah, and then I want to touch on the 6, Miss Saipan. We should make note, jockey Jose Ramos Gutierrez is a 10-pound bug, so he rides at 109 in this spot, not 119 as listed in the program. This horse is at 5-1 right now. Gutierrez was aboard this horse in that last out at Ellis Park. It was speed that day, hung around late into the lane, and this is a horse that I think at least they're going to push and try to kind of rake close and chase much of the way.
I think that is the case. Now, as far as those 2 most recent starts, was on the rails, so sometimes that forces their hand, and Miss Saipan was off slow in both those races, and they really had to push themselves into the race. When she was drawn outside, she also showed early speed, stepped slow in there. Going to have to get herself into the race, especially with Peggy's Way on her inside.
Yeah, we'll see how things unfold as they're heading out. We start the 50-cent early pick 5 here in race 1. Good luck.
Coming on the track for the Thursday opener, they'll go 6 furlongs on a fast track. Field of 6, no jockey changes, no overweights. One program note, number 6, Miss Saipan. The corrected weight should read 109 pounds. Jose Gutierrez is a 10-pound apprentice allowance rider. 6 minutes till post. Here they are. 1 Holy Star, Adamar Santos riding. Number 2 is Kiro Dinero with Alexi Centeno aboard. 3, Peggy's Way will be handled by Orlando Mojica. Number 4, Holy Image, Rachel Slavinsky to ride. 5, Resolution, Frank Reyes. And 6 is Miss Saipan, Jose Gutierrez will bring her to the gate, and they'll all be there in about 5 minutes. This race offers Win Play Show, Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta. It starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, the early 50-cent pick 5, and the $1 place pick 8. Remember, we have the low takeout of just 12% on your Win Play Show wagers, a low 8% takeout on the $1 place pick 8 every day we race. 5 minutes, track fast, turf firm, rails set at 20 feet out on the turf course. Racing fans, little time remains for you to wager on today's first race here at Hawthorne, which features rolling daily doubles, rolling pick threes, the 50-cent early pick five, and the $1 place pick eight. We do thank you for joining us, wherever it may be across the betting network. Today, warm temperatures here in the Chicagoland area. We have a fast track, firm turf, rail set at 20 feet out on the turf course. 9-race program, 1 carryover pool. We do have a late pick 5 carryover pool today. Late pick 5 starts on the 5th race today. Net carryover $3,335. $3,335. A late pick 5 carryover starts on the 5th race. That's the only carryover pool today. Close to starting time for race 1 at Hawthorne. Moving towards the gate here at Hawthorne, just about a minute. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race. First of 9 on the Thursday program. Horses are entering the starting gate. Racing fans, horses being backed out of the starting gate. Mutual windows remain open. Horses have been backed out of the starting gate. Going to have a momentary delay. Momentary delay here Going to make an adjustment on the starting gate. Mutual windows remain open. Once again, horses re-entering the starting gate. Last two to go in, Peggy's Way and Miss Saipan. Waiting now for Miss Saipan. They're all in the gate. They're off. Towards the inside, Holy Star out for the lead. Now rushing up Peggy's Way from the outside. Here's Miss Saipan. It's Miss Saipan up to challenge Peggy's Way for the lead. It's a 4-length gap. Resolution takes over third. Holy Star back to fourth. Holy Image fifth in your lead trailer. Quiero De Niro. She's 12 lengths behind the embattled duo with a half mile to run. On the inside, Peggy's Way outside. Miss Saipan still head and head for the lead. Now Peggy's Way inches clear. Miss Saipan still right there second. A long gap. Resolution third. Followed up by Holy Image, Holy Star, and Quiero De Niro now on the move. Now trailing Holy Star. Around the turn, they're in the stretch. Peggy's Way, the leader. On the outside, Miss Saipan trying to fight back second. Closing up on the outside, here comes Holy Image, third, now second, coming after this leader. Peggy's Way with Holy Image on the outside coming on. Miss Saipan, Quiero De Niro, and Resolution, they're in deep stretch. And it's Holy Image now getting the lead in the final strides. Holy Image to win it. Holy Image won by almost 3 in the end. Peggy's Way did hold second. Then it was Quiero De Niro tight for fourth between Miss Saipan and Resolution. In today's first race, 4 Holy Image finished first, 3 Peggy's Way second, 2 Quiero De Niro third, 6 Miss Saipan fourth. 4326 is posted. It's unofficial. 111.98 the running time. Well, if you weren't here last Thursday, Rachel Slavinsky had 3 winners on the program. She starts this Thursday off with a winner. She's aboard Holy Image. Holy Image owned by Holy Hill Farm. George Ware III. George Ware III trains. Rachel Slavinsky is the winning rider. We had a claim in the first race. 6 Miss Saipan was claimed. Victor Bastidos, new owner. Fernando Bahena, new trainer, claimed 6 Miss Saipan. This race is still unofficial.